and welcome to this special edition of Heads Up from Wycombe High School's Wainwright Learning Centre. A few weeks ago, some of our Year 7 Wycombe High TV reporters scooped the very first interview with some of our newly appointed student leadership team, just days after they were announced in their new roles. Now, after a few weeks of assemblies, events, student SLT meetings, and getting fully stuck into life as the senior student team, we thought it was the perfect time to get together again, this time for a more in-depth conversation about leadership, confidence, friendship and ambition, and what it really means to represent Wycombe High School. Joining us today is our Head Girl Kirsten, Deputy Head Girls Alexandra and Lucy, and Julia, who's also part of the new Head Girl team, who joined Wycombe High in Year 12. And she's very much become an important part of our sixth form community. Now, thank you all so much for being here with me and being subject to some of my questions about your roles as our senior students. Now, Kirsten, let's start with you. Since stepping into the role of Head Girl, tell me, what's been the biggest surprise about the job and maybe something about the role of Head Girl that people wouldn't see from the outside?
Yeah, so I think a lot of people assume that being head girl is just about representing the school, but there's a lot of behind the scenes work that needs to be done. Definitely a lot of admin, like organising events, planning rotas and emailing lots of people. But I really cherish the amount of freedom that we get to introduce new events and new opportunities, and I really value that.
I'm sure you've got lots planned and lots in store, and there's a good insight there into sort of some of the things behind. And Alexandra, Wycombe High School students are very busy. You've got a lot on, obviously you're all doing your A-levels, studying for those. How do you personally balance those leadership responsibilities with sixth form life and everything else that's going on in your world?
I personally love a good list. Like, I have lists everywhere, paper, on apps, everything. My main ones are definitely kind of Google Tasks. That kind of software is really, really good.
Yeah.
For younger students, there are loads of really, really easy to use apps for that kind of thing, with like little pets, whatever, little aesthetic things. I say the most important thing for a list or have it like to sort out what you're doing is have something that you can cross off once you've done something, because then you can visually see the progress. It's really motivating. But equally important to that, if you see this unfolding to-do list that's going on and you get really overwhelmed, you've got to remember that you're one person trying to do this whole to-do list one day at a time. You've got to remember that you can't do everything in one day to be able to balance everything and not get overwhelmed.
That's great advice, actually. Great tips for some of the younger students as well to get into these good habits. I can see the rest of you like nodding along there, like we've all got lists. I definitely, we're ticking stuff off on my list too. It's good technique to have. And Lucy, one of the things that younger students often wonder is whether our senior student leaders ever feel nervous or unsure of themselves. Have there been moments where you felt maybe sometimes a bit unsure of yourself and you've had to sort of push yourself, you know, outside of that comfort zone?
Absolutely. I think it's so normal to be nervous. Everyone is nervous. All of us have been nervous at some point just in this process alone getting here. I think the most important thing is to not let the nerves stop you from pushing yourself, and then you can achieve things that you never imagined you could.
Because I guess the process does push you out of your comfort zone, doesn't it, to end up, is there's various different stages that
like
you've had to go
speeches
through.
and all sorts, which
Well, well
worth it in the
done.
end.
Well done, all of you, for surviving through the process. And Julia, you joined Wycombe High in Year 12 at the start of your sixth form journey. And I'm sure that felt like quite a big leap, you know, coming from a school where you knew everyone, it was really familiar. What's it really been like for you, sort of joining Wycombe High at the start of Year 12? And how quickly did you feel part of the community here?
Well, I think it's a lot less scary than I thought it would have been. And to quote Paddington Bear, that when he says, in London, everybody is different, but that means that anybody can fit in. I think that statement is so beyond applicable to the sixth form at Wycombe High School. Like, there's so much diversity and everybody is so beautifully different, but that means that there's a place for everybody here and you'll settle in right away.
Oh, that's fantastic. And do you carry around a marmalade sandwich too?
Maybe.
Kirsten, now all four of you are role models for the younger students. Thinking back to when you were in Year 7 at Wycombe High, what do you wish you'd known about confidence, friendship, school life that you've learnt sort of through your journey in the school that you'd perhaps pass on to those new Year 7s coming in?
I'd definitely say that asking questions, it's such a strength. It's definitely not a weakness. I think coming into Year 7, a lot of people are unsure about what sixth form life and secondary school life is going to be like. And I think that sometimes we worry too much about relying on other people for support. And I think asking questions, it shows curiosity and a willingness to learn that is really valued in a school environment. And that's definitely a great way to build up your confidence and help develop as a person.
Yeah, that's so important, isn't it, being curious-minded?
Yeah.
I talk about that a lot when I talk with students around the school. One of our learner characteristics, of course, being curious. Love to hear you saying that that sort of served you well, sort of that curiosity. And Alexandra, Wycombe High is known for giving students so many opportunities beyond the classroom. Is there a particular experience that you hold in mind of, I don't know, maybe a trip or a club or something you've been involved with that's really shaped you on your journey?
I think every trip and club I've been part of has added something to me as a person, but the one I will always come back to, it's quite predictable, is 125 Live earlier this year.
It may sound a little foolish, but every word is true. Not hard to understand, but it's all up to you. I'm not good at love talking, I found a way to tell you all the things that are hard for me to say. I love you, etc., etc. I need you, etc., etc. You tell me, etc., etc. You thrill me, etc., etc.
I was wondering if you were going to mention that.
I talk about this
remember
quite a
that
lot,
too.
but it was like if I was in year 7 and you told me that in year 12 that I would have done that, I'd have been like, absolutely not. You're lying. You're just making fun of me. Like, I would not have gone. Going to assemblies was stressful enough. Like, sitting in the chairs was stressful enough for me. But being on that stage, being able to share something I'm really passionate about with the school and having people kind of really have positive feedback for me about it. I mean, even afterwards, my grandma was like, "Oh my gosh, you've changed so much." So that was a really, really big point of my life that was genuinely way more impactful than I ever thought it would be. And whilst 125 Live isn't going to happen every year, because obviously it's an anniversary event, there are so many events like that in the school that anyone can get involved with, you know, STEM, visual arts, the other, like, you know, performative arts. There's so much to do that there's always going to be something that will be that transformative for other people as well.
That was absolutely incredible watching you in that performance. I think we probably all remember that. And it's so lovely actually to hear that, you know, there will be these transformative moments for students in the future that they can't even envisage might be down the line for them. And lots more 125 events still to go, haven't we, for the rest of our anniversary year so far. So, Lucy, social media is something that's also sort of very prevalent for young people today and often can give young people the impression that everyone else has life completely sorted. You know, there's sort of those profiles online and people living a wonderful life. What would you say to younger students who maybe sometimes put a bit too much pressure on themselves to live up to those models of perfection?
I think you've got to remember social media is 1% of people's lives, if that. You're seeing the very best that they've got, the best pictures, the best moments. And I think the most important thing is you can't compare. Everyone's different, with different strengths, different weaknesses. Nobody is perfect. But just trying your best is going to be your best shot.
Yeah. I think that's great advice, actually. Just that remembering, it's one medium, isn't it? And actually, most of our lives are lived out in real life. Yeah, absolutely. And Julia, as someone who's experienced joining this new environment and becoming part of the sixth form community and sort of in this leadership role, what do you think makes Wycombe High School distinct and different from other schools? We'll have lots of students sitting their GCSEs at the moment considering our sixth form.
Yeah. Well, I think there are so many things that make Wycombe High so unique. I think first in the sixth form there's such like a sisterhood and everyone's just so lovely, but also there's such a curiosity and enthusiasm for learning that I find to be a really inspiring environment to try my best and to be enthusiastic about my lessons. And I find my lessons and my studies really interesting. And I think that's an environment that Wycombe High cultivates like nowhere else can, really.
And you're involved yourself, aren't you, in lots of things outside of the class, very heavily involved in music. And I guess, has it sort of felt comfortable to be involved in those sorts of things for you coming in?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's brilliant. That's really, I like that, a sisterhood. That's fantastic. And finally, Kirsten, when you and the team are looking ahead to, you know, your time in the sixth form, your time in these student leadership roles, what kind of legacy do you want your student leadership team to leave for Wycombe High School in the future?
I'm definitely thinking like a legacy of connection, especially between past and present students. Wycombe High has an incredible alumni community, and they offer so much experience and insight into life beyond school. And I really think the younger years could benefit from that, from shared experiences and stories and just advice, really. And if we can create a culture where everyone is included and can connect between year groups, that'd be something that I think we'd all be really proud to leave behind.
Yeah. Well, I have no doubt that you will, and what two fantastic themes, sort of connection and community, for us to end on. Well, thank you all so much for joining me today. It has been such a pleasure hearing your reflections, and I know our students, especially those lower down the school and families considering joining Wycombe High, will have loved hearing more about your journeys, your ambitions and your experiences here. What shines through so clearly is not only your leadership and your confidence, but your kindness, your humility and your genuine passion for the Wycombe High School community. We are incredibly proud of all of you. And that's all from this very special edition of Heads Up. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful May half-term break. Goodbye for now.